Good morning. Today is Friday, March 3rd, Erev Shabbat, Parshat Tetzaveh, and Parshat Zachor. One of the things that I've come to learn in my training is a wisdom of being conscious when you're meeting with an individual and you're going through whatever personal challenges or topics of significance to them, that at the end of your session, they might be on the way out. They call it a doorknob bomb, basically. On the way out, they say, "I guess next week we'll talk about my childhood trauma." And you say, well, "Whoa, I don't know where that came from. This strange that that's brought up here. I didn't expect it to happen here." And you have to figure out how as someone who's involved in this work with another individual to reintroduce and talk about why it was so. Why did you tell me this here and the way you did? And then we'll talk about what it is itself. I bring it up because we kind of have that happen in Parshat Tetzaveh. And let's remind ourselves that, by and large, Parshat Teruma, last week's Torah portion, dealt with all of the fixtures and the furnishings of the Mishkan, the ark, the altar, the actual structure itself, of the open courtyard and the closed area. And Parshat Tetzaveh, for the most part, would deal with the vestments of the Kohen Gadol, and the regular Kohen, what they would wear. And when that's all done, we suddenly have this moment, this doorknob moment, in which we say, "Oh, I want to talk to you also about, you have to make an altar for an inner altar that's used for the incense." Oh, you got to do that, and you kind of say, "Whoa, why is this here? What's happening here? It doesn't seem to fit here, and I don't understand what's being attempted and messaged here. That this significant piece is not put earlier, as if to say this is a significant piece. It's not just all the regular stuff." The Ramban actually notes this. He says you should know that altar for the incense was one of the internal vessels, and it should have been mentioned earlier, like the shulchan for the showbread and the menorah for the lights. It was placed with them, those three fixtures, just outside the Holy of Holies. So why throw it in over here? It's got to be making some point. And it would seem the point is, as some would frame it for us, is a very important one. That we have presented to us the things that happen on a regular basis, all the sacrifices that are meant to be carried out and brought each day by the Kohen on the main altar that sits in the courtyard, and then there would be the lighting of the changing of the showbread weekly on the inner shulchan, and the lighting of the menorah daily, and twice daily there was ketoret offered. And the Ramban seems to talk about here that there's a raz sinimsar leMoshe Rabbeinu. There was a special secret that was passed to Moshe about the power of the ketoret, that it could stop a plague, and make a powerful difference. That Aaron will use this later on in the Torah, and come back to the stories of the Ketoret to help protect the people. And indeed, the Ketoret becomes a way in which an individual is determined to either be able to reach close to God or not. That happens later when the Korah's rebellion, and it happens sooner in the story of Aaron's two sons who die bringing Ketoret. And so the rendering that is the concept that seems to emerge here is that the Ketoret is actually a vehicle for more direct engagement with God. When you haven't, aside from all the regular behaviors that you'll do, and the Ketoret again has a standard place, but putting it where it puts it is as if to say, here it is, right inside, right opposite the Holy of Holies. There's another direct line that you sometimes have. Think of it this way: you have a growth on your, that you're worried about, some discoloration on your skin or a growth, and you put a call into a dermatology office. and they say, okay, we'll schedule you to see the doctor in 6 months. That's the first opening the doctor has. I can't wait 6 months for this. I'm worried about it, and it's a concern. And so you might decide at that moment to pick up the phone and talk to your friend who happens to be the brother-in-law or sister-in-law of said doctor, and suddenly you have an appointment next week. It's protectia. That's the word we kind of use for it, for that which is sort of protected relationships. And we in the Jewish community often have access to people that can help us break through barriers that are otherwise there when the normal routine doesn't seem to do it. And I like to think of, and I've heard it described this way as well, that the Ketoret functions in many ways like this. There are all the standard sacrifices that are brought for all the purposes that they're brought. And yet there are times when we feel we need to just break through and just find a way to get a more direct line aside from it. You think about what we do, our practice to recite Pitum HaKetoret weekly. There are those who recite Pitum HaKetoret daily. And it's not the Ashkenazic Siddur practice generally to do so. Rav Amram Gaon already introduces this and says it was based on an earlier tradition yet, to go through all the sacrifices, and kind of all the other sacrifices kind of be put in the front, and people do or don't say them, but Ketoret sort of stood alone and found its way at the end of davening as if it were a doorknob opportunity. Not in this case dropping a bomb, but to say, like, I don't know how all this went in my prayers until now, but God, I want to sort of have Ketoret opportunity with you too, to be able to put forward a little bit of what my needs are. Bring us whatever healing for our broken souls and troubles that we have. It's just somehow how we might imagine the Ketoret, and so it's set apart. We have all the rest of the vessels of the Mishkan described in Truma, the vestments of the Kohanim in Tetzaveh, and we think we're all done. We put in the Ketoret at the end as if to say, and folks, this is what you might need to do. This is your direct contact with God. We need Ketoret, folks. We need the Ketoret, all of us, whether we have the incense directly ourselves or the concept, even today. May we find it and use it. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom.